Welcome. Today we're exploring a really quite singular place in Egypt, the Temple of Kom Ombo. What makes it stand out is its dedication, uniquely, to two gods within the same walls. Sobek, the crocodile god, and Horus the Elder.
That's right. And it dates back to the Ptolemaic Dynasty. We're talking construction between about 180 and 47 BC. Its location is key, too, right on the east bank of the Nile, between Aswan and Luxor.
A spot known for crocodiles, I gather.
Exactly. The ancients observed crocodiles basking there, so it created this natural link to Sobek worship.
Yeah.
So our goal today is really to unpack the history, the architecture, and some of the, well, really captivating details that make Kom Ombo so compelling for anyone interested in ancient Egypt.
Okay, let's start with that layout you mentioned. The idea of a double temple sounds quite unusual.
It absolutely is. It's rare to find this kind of precise symmetry. Imagine two identical entrances. They lead into these mirrored hypostyle halls, and then further back, twin sanctuaries.
So, completely mirrored.
Almost perfectly, yeah. If you drew a line down the main axis, each side reflects the other. It visually represents that dual dedication. And, for many people taking a Nile cruise north from Aswan, Kom Ombo is often the first big ancient site they see, partly because this design is so striking.
Let's talk more about Sobek. His connection to the Nile seems crucial.
Oh, definitely. Sobek was tied directly to the Nile's flood, the inundation that brought fertility to the land, absolutely vital for farming. And because of this, crocodiles gained this sacred status.
Sacred enough to keep them near the temple.
Apparently so. Evidence suggests they actually maintained live crocodiles in a sacred lake right next to the temple complex. Shows real reverence.
Wow, live crocodiles. And what happened when these sacred animals passed away?
Well, this really highlights how deeply they were venerated. They weren't just disposed of. They were carefully embalmed and meticulously mummified.
Mummified crocodiles.
Yes, and on a huge scale.
Yeah.
In 1970, they discovered hundreds of crocodile mummies tucked away in the Hathor Chapel near the entrance.
Hundreds. That really speaks to Sobek's importance. And I believe there's a museum nearby now that houses some of these.
Precisely. Right beside the temple, there's the Kom Ombo Crocodile Museum. It has about, I think, 22 of the actual mummies on display.
And these weren't just burials, they were offerings.
That's the thinking, yes.
Yeah.
Offerings to Sobek. Perhaps, partly to appease the god, maybe hoping for protection from crocodile attacks, which were a real danger.
Ah, so appeasement and respect kind of intertwined.
Seems likely. The museum does a good job providing context. Some mummies are even displayed in these small chariots,
Yeah.
with info about the process and the beliefs.
Fascinating. Beyond the mummies and the unique design, the temple walls themselves are rich with reliefs and inscriptions, right? Any standouts?
Oh, several. There's a very clear relief showing Ptolemy XII Neos Dionysos being presented to Horus the Elder. And another significant one depicts the same pharaoh receiving the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, a powerful symbol of unification.
Right, reinforcing the king's power. But I understand there are some more unusual carvings that have caused a bit of discussion.
Yes, that's right. On the back wall of the outer passage, there's this really remarkable relief. It seems to show a set of, well, surgical instruments.
Surgical instruments, like what?
You can make out things that look very much like scalpels, forceps, even a kind of saw. It's led to a lot of speculation that the temple might have also functioned as a place for healing.
A healing center in ancient Egypt. What else supports that idea?
Well, interestingly, there's graffiti on the outer wall, left by locals over time. Some historians interpret this as possibly indicating people came here seeking cures or relief. And there's also a detailed yearly calendar carved right into the wall, marking out individual days. Suggests a sophisticated awareness of time, maybe connected to health cycles or auspicious times for treatment.
A stone calendar, amazing. And isn't there another carving? Something is an operating table?
That's another really compelling image, yeah. It looks like a table with various tools laid out. And there are figures of women who seem to need medical help, possibly related to childbirth. There's even a bowl on a stand nearby, maybe for water or, medicinal mixtures.
It's incredible to think about their potential medical knowledge back then. The Eye of Horus symbol is prominent too, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And one interpretation you often hear from guides there is that this Eye of Horus symbol might have been a sort of precursor to our modern RX symbol on prescriptions.
Really? Is that confirmed?
Well, it's debated among scholars whether there's a direct link, but it's definitely a captivating thought connecting ancient healing symbols to modern practices.
So Kom Ombo offers this amazing window into religion, royalty, even medicine. But the story doesn't end with the temple itself. There's been recent archaeology nearby.
Indeed. The Austrian Archaeological Institute did some major work at the Kom Ombo town site between 2019 and 2021. And they uncovered finds that are much older than the Ptolemaic temple we see today, mostly from the Old Kingdom, the First Intermediate period.
Older discoveries, what kind of things did they find?
They found a remarkably well-preserved building. Inside, it had these round silos, almost certainly for grain storage. This points to a pretty significant administrative setup here, centuries before the temple was even built. They also found a cemetery used from the Old Kingdom right through the First Intermediate period.
So a much longer history of settlement there than just the temple suggests. What else came out of those digs?
Well, they identified layers showing occupation from the late Second Dynasty into the early Fifth Dynasty. They recovered artifacts like pottery, lots of stamped ceilings. Some even had the name of Pharaoh Userkaf from the Fifth Dynasty, and various stone tools.
Wow.
And just looking at the surface in the southern part of the mound, you can see signs of Roman and later period structures too. It shows the site was continuously active.
It really sounds like layers upon layers of history. Did they find hints of even earlier stuff underneath?
Yes, they did. Beneath some of the later First Intermediate period buildings, they found traces of earlier structures, including possibly even older silos. The seal impressions are really interesting too. Many show building facades are these complex labyrinth patterns, and they seem concentrated in certain areas, which gives us clues about how these early administrative areas were organized.
And the stone tools you mentioned, what do they tell us?
They show a long continuity of lithic industries, stone tool making, right from the early dynastic period through to the start of the Middle Kingdom. It confirms people were living and working here using these technologies for a very, very long time.
Shifting to the present day, are there efforts being made to protect the temple now?
Yes, absolutely. A project was launched specifically to tackle the problem of rising groundwater. The water can be quite corrosive to the stone, so they're working to lower the water table and protect the foundations. It shows an ongoing commitment to preserving the site.
It's good to hear these ancient sites are being looked after. What's the general feel of the area around Kom Ombo today?
The contrast is really something. You have this magnificent ancient temple, and right alongside it are these lush, green agricultural fields running along the Nile. It's quite beautiful, actually. A visual reminder of that enduring link between the river and civilization here, past and present, side by side. And you also find that many locals have Nubian roots, which adds another layer of culture. You see it in handicrafts, hear it in the stories.
Sounds like a really rich place to visit, where history meets living culture. If someone's thinking of going, any practical tips?
Well, a visit to Kom Ombo is often built into Nile cruise itineraries, so that's one popular way. But you can also do day trips quite easily from Aswan or Luxor. Often they combine Kom Ombo with the Temple of Horus at Edfu, another major site nearby.
Right.
Timing-wise, the best bet is usually the cooler months, say October to April, just to avoid the really intense summer heat.
Good tip.
And definitely don't miss the Crocodile Museum right next door. It really adds context to the whole experience.
Okay, so whether by boat or land, Kom Ombo clearly offers so much. This dual dedication, the whole crocodile cult, the hints of ancient medicine, and now this evidence of a much older settlement.
Exactly. Kom Ombo really does provide these incredible glimpses into the complexity of ancient Egyptian religious thought, the developing knowledge, and just the rhythms of daily life along the Nile over millennia.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Sure.
That unique dedication to two gods. What might that suggest about the maybe flexibility or complexity of ancient Egyptian beliefs? And with digging still happening, you have to wonder what other secrets are still buried out there in the sands around Kom Ombo.